I'm Peter Reinhardt. Welcome back to Pizza Talk, presented by Pizza Quest. I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. Leo Spizzirri, our guest today, is in Chicago, Illinois, and he's at his school. What's the name of that school again, Leo?
The North American Pizza and Culinary Academy.
All right, and earlier in a previous episode, Leo was telling us about his formation and training in Italy. What was the name of the big school that you and Tony and others have gone where you got certified?
So it's called Scuola Italiana Pizzaioli, located in Venice, Italy.
And I know that, Leo, you were really one of the very first, maybe you and Tony are the two first Americans ever certified by that school, right?
Yeah, and actually we're the only two master instructors in the United States.
Really?
Both of our schools, Tony's got the International School of Pizza, and then I've got the North American Pizza and Culinary Academy here in Chicago. And we are the only two certified schools in the United States with Scuola Italiana Pizzaioli. So that's a pretty big honor for us.
So now any North American who wants to get essentially certified in that lineage doesn't have to go to Italy. They can come right to you and get trained
Absolutely. There. And the cool thing about it is that, there's a lot of people teaching pizza, right? Which is an awesome thing. It's great for our industry. But the great thing about what our schools do, mine and Tony's schools, is that because Scuola Italiana Pizzaioli is actually accredited, we wear these insignias over here.
Oh,
this is part of a group called SGS. And SGS maintains like an ISO 9001 certification. And periodically, our schools get basically checkup, from these organizations to make sure that we're teaching our curriculum properly. Yeah. So this is like, it is kind of like the gold standard when we call out. If you're serious about getting certified as a pizzaiolo or learning traditional methods, either the Italian methods or even the methods here from the United States in all the different styles, this is like legit 100%. This is the top of the mountain, and we love this.
And you're not just teaching the Napolitana style, you're teaching all five of the classic Italian styles of pizza, correct?
That's right. And, this is actually one of the cool things about the road that Tony and I have taken, because while we're still kind of parallel in our teaching, Tony's taken the philosophy of incorporating the American styles of pizza into his certification course, where my focus is on the 5 styles from Italy and then how those styles immigrated to the United States.
I see.
So it's really a focus on Italian pizza, and then we can show you every style of pizza from those styles of pizza.
So you also can show people how to make a Detroit style or Chicago deep dish style, any style kind of grew out of those master styles. It's kind of like the mother sauces of pizza.
It really is. And, you're thinking of a mother sauce, one small change in an ingredient will change the sauce completely. And it goes the same with our dough, and talking about things like high hydration doughs to very low hydration doughs like the Chicago style, and everything in between.
Well, you have a facility there that you've created. It's been open for about 3-4 years now.
No, it's less than that. We're a little over 18 months. Actually, July will be 2 years.
I guess it's been 3 to 4 years since I heard you start to talk about it, and it takes a while to make these things happen. But I've had a chance to teach there at your school, and loved the time I was with you, and got a chance to see a little bit about how it was set up. Can you give us a little walk around and show us everything that's going on there?
So actually, the area that I'm sitting in right now, I'm in what's called the show kitchen. And when you walk in the front door, and especially when you come here to spend 5 days with me for the certification course, you'll see like I got the coffee bar right behind. So this is where we start every morning. And this is where a lot of the powwows happen, a lot of like checking through your notes, from the night before. And all the students will actually sit around tables, drinking coffee, before class and talking about those. So this is a really cool piece because even while I was in Italy and we would do our classes out there, every morning, that's how we would start out. We would go to the coffee bar around the corner, have coffee, and go back.
It's like your cafe.
This is like a little cafe.
I'm craving a cappuccino as I'm sitting here watching you.
Well, I'm going to actually pick this up. Hopefully, I do this justice.
All right.
I'm going to show you behind me here.
All right.
And what you see right here, all these tables that are set up, this is our classroom style setup, where all the chairs are facing forward, right? Normally, we would do classes that are pretty large in this area. And, again, being that we're part of Scuola Italiana Pizzaioli, you can see right behind me, we're very proud of that, being part of that group. I'm going to walk you around over here. And this area is actually where all our teaching happens. So the
I
chef.
remember doing a demo. I did a demo class right behind that counter there.
That's right. So, you can see right behind me, it's a giant island that holds probably about 20 seats right here at the island. The chef would, I'm going to bring this around here. The chef would stand here at the cooktop, right? And, it wouldn't be an Italian cooking school without an Italian coffee pot on the stove. And they would sit here and they would do their classes. And then right above here, there's a camera right there. And then that projects everything onto this screen that's right here. So no matter where you're at inside of this room, you've got a lot of visibility to what the chef instructor is doing. We've got wireless microphones in here so that, again, everybody can hear really well. And
how many people could fit in that room?
We try to cap it at about 60 people when we do a private event or, a big demonstration. But the key to this, and I think that this is one of the things that a lot of people, when I'm doing these interviews, have been asking about is, how's this going to affect you post-COVID, And for us, when we do a normal class here, we specifically keep those groups under about 12 to 15 people. My 5-day certification course, we always cap that at 8 people because we want to give that one-on-one experience from student to instructor. People are coming here from all over the United States and a lot of times from all over the world to get in front of me to take these classes, and we want to make sure that it's not oversaturated. So actually, when we're ready to open up, hopefully we've got our next 5-day certification course coming up in July. And we're going to do it just the way we've always done it, except that, we'll be wearing masks. And,
you've already got your social distancing thing in place since you've been doing it that way all along.
Exactly.
But you also do get, in addition to the individuals, you do get corporate or companies that basically contract with you to bring their team in for corporate training as well, right?
So in my past life, I was in R&D, right? Research and development.
Yeah.
I was the dough specialist for one of the largest frozen pizza manufacturers in the United States. And that's really where I was able to take all of the knowledge that I had in dough making and figure out how to make these things run high speed. Totally different world, but it all is dough chemistry. And all of a sudden, all these manufacturers that I was dealing with, these major companies, the Nestle's of the world, and I could probably tell you that almost every manufacturer of ingredient has probably done events in here so far, and they're really looking for that experience. Number one, to train their staff on what the independent pizza guys are doing. Because it's our world, the independent pizza world is really where all the trends come from, and eventually you'll see those trends end up in the grocery store. Like last year we saw the first Detroit-style pizza in the freezer case.
That's right.
How about that? So this is some pretty interesting things. But we have a lot of really high-end clients. A lot of them I have to keep confidential for obvious reasons. Yeah. But, my fingers have been in a lot of doughs across the United States and a lot around the world, even in Canada. And it's really a fun experience.
Well, so you're in the front of the house now. Can you give us a peek in the back of the house?
Yeah. So this, I'm going to bring you into the oven room, which now the oven room has been converted to curbside pickup headquarters.
It's already making me envious. I'm seeing all these wood-fired ovens and different styles and deck ovens. You've got a whole bunch of tools there.
We have 3 wood-fired ovens here. This is an actual VPN-approved Neapolitan oven. This is from a company called Marana, which is from Verona. And this one actually has the certificate of the VPN, the Pulcinello. So this is an actual Neapolitan oven. I had it custom painted, the same color as the Naples soccer team. And, everything very traditional. Even the pizza tools are the Neapolitan pizza tools and a lot of that sort of thing. So we try to really give our students as close to a traditional experience as we can without them traveling to Italy.
You're kind of standing in the ultra-Orthodox section of your shop.
This oven right behind me, this is a rotating deck oven. Again, another Marana oven.
Something that did not exist in Italy 100 years ago.
Yeah, but this is the one, actually, this was the innovator. Marana innovated this technology in the spinning floor oven. This one actually, not only does the floor spin, but it's got this little remote control panel right here. and the whole floor actually lifts up and down so that you can change the temperature of the oven by just moving the pizzas closer to the door, to the dome.
So you can dome the pizzas without lifting them.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
So you could
Now
do
that's
multiple
nice.
style pizzas in one oven.
How many pizzas can you do in that oven at a time?
This pizza, if I'm doing 12-inch pizzas, I can do probably about 14, 15 pizzas inside of this oven.
Up with a pretty big flow there, yeah.
Absolutely. And there's the recovery time is really non-existent because there's a burner under the floor inside of this oven. So the floor never cools down. And then obviously, this one. This is a pretty famous oven. It's buried right now. This is our Forno Bravo. This is a Napoli 140. And this oven was actually a gift from Forno Bravo and all those guys. When I opened the school, they had asked me, can we put an oven inside the school? And I was like, man, I would love to have one of your ovens. And Greg Gisco, who's the president and owner of the company, said, Leo, just let us know what we can do. And I think he regretted that afterwards because I says I want to do a tile job, and I wanted to do pennies. And my partner Anthony, who you're going to see in the kitchen, he wouldn't let me send pennies to California to tile the oven. So we found this. These are 3/4-inch circle tiles that are mirrored, and each one of these was individually hand placed. 25,682 hand placed on that oven. That was pretty cool.
That is cool.
This is a pizza press back here. I've got a double electric deck oven. This is a gas deck oven. We just installed a combi oven over here. And the combi is great because besides doing a lot of great baking in the combi, we're also roasting meat and doing a lot of things like that. I use it a lot for proofing as well. And that's always. I
find that combis are really great for focaccia. I've had some phenomenal success with my combi.
I love it. And we're as soon as we open up, we're going to start doing combi cooking classes because, I heard a number that there's about 80% of the restaurants in Europe have a combi oven, and it's only about 15% here in the United States. So it's a great way to cook.
Well, it's another tool that expands the repertoire of the operation.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm going to take you to
the door now. Okay, this is the magic door. What's happening here?
I don't know. Hopefully these guys are all dressed back here. But I got the boys back here. Anthony, how you saying?
Anthony. Good to see you.
It's Anthony.
How we doing?
It's Footy Frank.
Hey, Frank.
What are you guys making over here?
A little tiramisu.
Tiramisu. This is for the curbside pickup menu. We're soaking lady fingers over here.
Do you sell those by the tray or by the piece?
These are going by the tray.
Wow. So it's going to work. Who's buying trays of tiramisu? Restaurants, cafes? Who's open?
Oh, no, people. Curbside pickup. Take home and eat.
They're just taking them home.
Yeah.
When they talk about in Chicago, when they talk about flattening the curve, it's the curve of your belly that you're going to try to lose after the quarantine.
but what does a tray of tiramisu sell for?
I don't know. What do we sell?
$16 for this. So serve 4. In your house, probably 2. In my house, maybe 1.
Yeah, right. I know. That's awesome. That's a pretty cool thing.
Well, we've gone to full scratch kitchen over here. There's no, we're not opening cans and scooping and dumping over here. Everything is made from scratch. I've got another old friend of mine. This is my buddy Danny. Danny, say hi to Peter Reinhardt.
Hey, Danny. How's it going?
Danny used to work with me downtown many years ago at another famous chain, big restaurant chain. He was one of the corporate chefs with me, and I was able to snag him and bring him over here and cook.
Are you allowed to say that? Are you allowed to say the name of the chain?
Danny also is a Johnson & Wales graduate.
Well, that's something we have in common. So you're not allowed to say the name of the chain where he was working?
No, we used to work for Francesca's Restaurant Group. Francesca. And they have about 26 restaurants worldwide. And the great thing about that is that we had a lot of these little side concepts that were like one-offs. And they started as one-offs, and now they're turned into chains. But we got to do a lot of those one-off deals and turn into really cool places. So
you were doing like the R&D for them, huh?
Yeah. Danny's a warrior in the kitchen. I'm going to tell you, if I'm going to go to battle with somebody in the kitchen, he's one of the first guys on the line with me.
What is Danny making now with all those eggs?
I don't know what he's making. We'll see when he comes out.
When he comes back out.
I'm making arancini. We can scratch made. They're about the size of a softball. And we did a giant. What are you making right now?
I'm just making the egg wash, and then I'm going to start building.
For arancini?
Yes.
Do you have any already built?
No. Yeah, I think we have.
Let's see.
So you're selling those curbside also then? People are just coming buying?
Yeah, we do. We change the menu once a week, and people say like, oh, I missed this last week. Can we do it again? And I think for us, it's really about not getting bored. Cooking the same thing all week long, and we change it up. But it really is a cool experience. Look at these arancini.
Holy cow! That's a family size rice ball there.
And we're using cannoli rice, risotto rice from Accarello. And we're using saffron to make that rice. We've got a bolognese sauce that cooks for about 6 hours with 3 types of meat in it the right way. And, to have that much work go into an arancini, right? These are some of the things that when people have these, we tell them you better get a couple extra because they're not going to make it on the car ride home.
That's right. Yeah. Well,
so this is our kitchen here. And again, being that we're a school, we have a lot of small wares around, and you can see we're built to do, multiple of everything, So if you come here to take a class, you're going to get the experience of actually cooking by hand. You're going to cook along with us. Everybody would get their own setup. I'm going to take you into the dough room right now. This is my favorite place to do it.
Sure. I love the dough room.
This is where I quarantine myself.
And one of the things that I'll point out to right behind you is that so many different types of flour that you keep there so that you can show people number one, how they work differently, but how each one are maybe particularly suited for a particular product.
Right, and this isn't even all of it because then I've got stuff. There's flour everywhere. I've got bins. I've got dry storage in the back of this place, and there's probably. I think today I probably have about 22 different types of flour in here from all over the United States, all over Italy, all different mills. And it's really, the great thing about, people saying, we know, I'll call it out. There's a lot of politics in our world, right?
Sure.
And a lot of times it comes down to what flour mill you support and all that. And I think that, you were probably one of the first people to teach me that lesson that if we're going to be educators, we need to really stay neutral and we need to teach everything, right? And that's really the stand I took. Yeah, I have the types of ingredients that I go to for my own things, when I'm going to do my own work. But for students coming here, it's really about teaching them why a certain flour is great and not just because of the marketing on the front of the label. Yeah. It's really about what's inside the bag.
Exactly. And I think what we love to do is bring you back for another whole separate show where we talk a little bit, maybe you do a little dough mixing for us or do a little demo for us to teach us, give us a little taste of a lesson, but also maybe have you sit with our dough panel. I call them the Yodis, our pizza Yodis, where we talk about these issues. We take questions and answers from our viewers and have you guys kind of debate over things like that. And one of the questions that comes up a lot is, how do we understand the differences in the different functionality of flour and which flour is most appropriate for which products? And we'd love to have you chime in on those conversations as well.
Yeah,
because we can't cover it all with you. We could spend, probably do this every single day for 2 months and still not cover everything. So we want to keep bringing you back as often as you're able to come back and join us.
I would love that.
That's
so we got, we've got all 4 types of machines in here. I've got an old Hobart from the 60s, an L800. I've got a fork style mixer right here, right behind me. I've got 2 spirals right behind me, and then a diving arm in the corner.
Oh yeah.
We've got water controls. Yeah, we could take water out of the wall by temperature because there's a water chiller on the opposite side, as well as a booster heater above us. And then, portion water out by weight. We don't teach our classes by just pushing a button. We make everybody weigh everything out. But, a lot of our big, the manufacturers that come in here, those operating big bakeries and that sort of thing, this is exactly the setup that you'd see in a commercial bakery. And this room is all climate, humidity controlled. It's all sealed. So we've really built a bubble inside of this room.
Well, before we leave, because we're almost out of time for today, but we're definitely bringing you back for another session because we're learning something. So I want to leave with maybe one Q&A moment because this comes up a lot. Is I see you had that water system back there, and so can you talk briefly about your discoveries in terms of the importance of water from different regions and how it affects the dough?
So, this was one of the things that everybody asked since the beginning, because, you know, I'm from Chicago. My partner is born and raised in Queens, New York. And, you know, parents came from Long Island. They were all over New York. And we always talk about water, right? As a baker, I talk about the importance of water and what it does to the structure of our dough. So, you know, if we were talking about New York water is great because that water is coming down from the Adirondacks, you know, so you've got a natural filtration process that happens. And that's why the water is so good in New York. But in Chicago, we also have a great source of water with Lake Michigan, that our water comes actually down from Canada. And it's that same kind of thing that happens, fresh water coming from Canada. The only problem that I have in Chicago is that we have a lot of chlorine in our water. So when we opened the school, my big focus was going to be, let's get the chlorine out of the water. And I could have easily gone with a reverse osmosis system, but I was approached by a company that manufactures these water systems. And they, you know, they started talking about changing the composition of water. So if I'm creating a brand here in Chicago and I decide to take that across the United States, now I can have one setup of this filtration system, take that anywhere I go, and I'll have the same exact water no matter where I go with it, right? So that was pretty cool to me.
Well, you've traveled all over the world and made pizza all over the world and other products. Can you tell the difference? You know, does your palate discern the difference between dough made, let's say, in Italy with Italian water versus the New York water versus the Chicago water?
You know, and this is another part of the argument that that we get into. So each place that we go, or what's considered traditional in these styles, right? You have to remember that the water is also traditional for that style. So, for example, I'm going to talk about Tony again, Gemignani. When Tony went and he won the Naples Cup, one of the things that he talks about when he won in Italy was that all these guys were going to Naples and using bottled water. And Tony's like, why would I use bottled water when everybody here uses water right out of their tap? Because that's, again, what they're going to recognize is this is our traditional pizza. And it's that kind of mentality that makes that pizza great, right? Now, here in Chicago, if that chlorine is in the water, the Chicago-style pizza was created with that chlorine in the water, and it affected the structure a certain way. So there is times when we talk about leave the water alone, just like in New York. It's one of those things like sacrilege if you talk about bad about New York water and pizza, right? So I think that that's really one of those main things that we have to, it's really important. But as understanding water and what it affects, how it affects the crumb or the cell structure of our doughs, it does make a difference. So if you have a lot of minerals and things in the water, that can definitely create stickiness. It could create a more compact crumb. And, you know, I don't have to tell you, but there's a lot of truth to it.
It's a debate that could rage for, you know, for hours and hours, and you can get 5 people in a room and get 6 different opinions about it. But it's important to understand sort of the foundation of it. And this is helpful. And I think it's a great place to leave it today, because we'll leave with a lesson for today, but we'll bring you back for more similar type lessons because Leo is really a master of many styles and is now becoming a master teacher as well as a master cook and product developer. So thank you, Leo, so much for the time you spent with us today, for giving us a tour of your school. We will put a link on our website on pizzaquest.com for how to see the video that Leo talked about in the last episode, the YouTube video of him making, what is it, a Chicago pie?
Pizza. Yeah, stuffed pizza. It's got 1.2 million views. It's crazy.
Over 1 million views of his stuff. So we want people to see that, and also a link back to the school and ways that people can reach you if they want to get your schedule and also see any other. You've got a lot of presence on YouTube and you got a YouTube channel now. So
YouTube channel is under North American Pizza and Culinary Academy. So search Pizza Culinary Academy. You can also search for the school all across social media by searching Pizza Culinary Academy. You can find me at Ask Leo Pizza all over social media. And it's just that simple. I just want to share with everybody what I know. And, you know, again, those of you who are interested in coming to take a course, you can see our website has a full list of those classes at www.pizzaculinaryacademy.com.
Beautiful. I'm with Leo Spizzirri. I'm Peter Reinhardt. You're on Pizza Talk, presented by Pizza Quest. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Thank you so much for having me, Peter.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Bye.